Today, we are pleased and privileged to be joined by the mayor of Denison, Greg DiDonato. How many terms have you been in, Greg?
Oh, let me see. I filled in for how many now? I think I've done this on, I did 2 terms before I went to the State House for several years, and then I came back and did a term, and then I basically have stepped in and out for 2 former mayors, and of course I'm finishing the term for the late, Tim Steele, who just passed away.
Right, yeah, we learned about that, and saddened to hear that, but
good man.
Good that you are available and stepping in, and as you have done that right now, you're kind of in the midst of I would call it a downtown renovation on an area that was already being looked at pretty carefully. This is great.
We're excited. I just handed out a spreadsheet last council meeting, potentially how many projects were involved. If all of them would come to reality, some were still seeking funding. We're talking neighborhood projects as well. Well, one's already secured. We're doing $165,000 in the spring next year of sidewalk projects in the Thornwood Park. It was delayed from later this year till next. That's run through the CDBG, and they handle that. Part of it, again, getting contractors in the time of year and the bids right now with the materials. So there's some hope by going in and bidding in January, the contractors will be looking for their work, and we'll get more bids and be more competitive, and maybe stabilization on some of the pricing as well. Yeah. So we have that going on. But our downtown right now, we've secured all the funds to replace the probably near 100-year-old storm drain. Starts there to Gazebo to Uriksville. So those funds, that's about $500,000 has been put there. There'll also be we'll find some separation. I mean, some things are probably connected into the storm drain that should be in the sanitary. So that'll clean some of those issues up. Every time we do it, we straighten those up, which you need to do by EPA standards, and which you should do.
Oh, yeah.
And then the other thing, we are in the final stages of finalizing 23 new lights, 14 on Grant Street. 6 will be on North 3rd Street from the post office to Center Street, so it's going to almost be like a form of a T. But there's also the old metal poster there, the tall ones. And then we will be putting 3 from the Gazebo to Center Street, from Grant to Center to the depot. And we're in the final stages of working that out. The light top's been selected through AEP. We buy the post. They use our post because we want them to be decorative. Right. We're using the American Rescue Funds. That's fully funded also.
Oh, right.
And we buy the post. They'll do the installation. So we're looking for the final price. There's some things they pay for. There's some things we have to pay for. And so to find out what that cost will be there. We hope to have the post order here soon, at least for downtown, because there's an 8% price increase coming for those. So, but we have that in place. We also are thrilled. We're going to be making announcements soon. We have $72,000 of what you call streetscape improvements. Those are new street markers to say like North 3rd and Grant. Well, on Center Street, we put decorative Victorian ones when we did that about almost 20 years ago now.
Wow.
And we need to carry that over. They'll be black with the beautiful names on them. But we also want to pull it all together like historical. So you're looking at black posts for the stop signs, black posts for the 2-hour parking. You're looking at new trash cans. There'll be black trash, new planters downtown. Also, 12 benches have been planned throughout the downtown area. So that's estimated to cost $72,000 for the new signage as well. So there'll be fresh, crisp signs, as well as all those posts, everything I mentioned to you. And that is $72,000, the estimate to buy it. And we have a donor coming forward who's kicking it off with $35,000.
Wow.
So, geez, we got a year and a half to finish it off, and we got half of it being donated. So we're excited over that. We're working on the 2 pieces now, securing some money for sidewalks. Initially, it's to make sidewalk improvements, but we hope we secure enough fund that we can actually do some areas of, all replacements in some blocks areas. So we're moving forward with that. We think there's some good news coming on that end as well. And also we're we'll be applying soon to pave Grant Street from the Corporation of Uriksville all the way up to North 6, where we did last year past the AIC Club. And that'll also encompass all the alleys between First National Bank, St. Mary's School, behind CVS, where Pangrazio's drive-through is, behind the Denison Eagles, the KSC. So, and then there between Lindsay's Funeral Home and drive-through, we have one alley, which is really Hannah, but it's from Grant to Center. So all that is being estimated. And additionally, with an application, we're looking at putting in for a $400,000 request. We're committed $100,000 paying for that grant for the other $150,000, and we're hoping $150,000 0% loan. Those are what we've done when we paved a lot of our neighborhoods here in the last few years. So we're excited because if the next two pieces fall in place, we'll know here soon on the one that I mentioned for $171,000. And if we secure that one by year end, that will set aside $350,000 million to redo the downtown area. It will change the face of Denison. And the truth is, if we want to grow the town, you have to have a vibrant downtown. That's what people look at when they're buying a home, when they come to the area, when they want to continue to live in the area.
Yes.
Okay? We compete with everybody else. People are very mobile nowadays. If we want to keep a strong business district, people don't realize, but we have almost a couple hundred employees in the downtown area. It is one of our largest employers when you pull it all together. Okay, you have the bank, First National Bank as the hub of the town. You have several there to complete dental care, and then you add up all the restaurants and everybody else. So you have a major employer there, and we will plan to keep it strong for the next 20, 30 years, and we have to do our part on the town, and it needs a facelift, and it's due, and we're moving towards that.
It sounds like you've got some people that are interested in moving into the area, though.
We do. As many of you know, we're patiently waiting for the opening of the Holy Brewery. We just had a relocation of growth. The nail shop moved from Center to where the Holy Grounds used to be, so she needed to do expansion, so she's got more people working out of there. We also have others looking. We recently had Ross Linden, who moved his office downtown for his heating and cooling business. So, we're happy there. Like I said, we're pretty well full. We had the Ombudsman program that moved in what I know is the former Dr. Greeney's office. Recently, it was used by Harkis for the heat program where they helped for assistance. It's there off of 2nd Street, right off of downtown. Yeah. So, we stay pretty well occupied. We also have a joint project with First National Bank. They are tearing down the last remaining home that crossed the street beside their parking lot for an expansion. So it's also part of the downtown revitalization. We hope to have some of the green space along the sidewalk that we can place a few of those benches and maybe put a pine tree for an official tree we can use for Christmas calling in the future. We'll work that out with them, but we basically have a handshake. They've already purchased it. It's also going to greatly enhance the KSC because they have that beautiful patio, and they already tore down the one home they owned about a year ago, and we tear this down. That'll be very visible to everybody driving in town, this gorgeous outside patio, which should help them in the sense of renting for parties and events, but also doing business on the weekend, opening up and having events there. They used to do that pretty regularly before the pandemic, and I know that's what their plans are to get back to that. So all these things are falling into place. And I also got to tell everybody we broke a record. Within the last 2 weeks, we have issued it's almost there already, $1 million for new home permits.
Wow.
$1 million. They have to buy a permit when they go to purchase it, and we have issued. And I could tell you right now, there's probably on the drawing board at least another a couple more homes being built, potentially 2 to 4 more homes. So, we talked about in the last 5 years, by us tearing down a lot of these old blighted homes over the last 10 years, it made availability of buildable lots. The little 25 foot's being bought by the neighbors, being split up for extension yard, but there are a lot of these were buildable, and and we can see the results of it. The one recently on Center Street that looks absolutely gorgeous. They built a new home down there on 8th and Center, and beautiful landscape around it. But we are seeing the fruits of that. What people don't realize, we've seen almost about 12, I believe we're up to nearly 15 homes built in the last 5-6 years, scattered throughout the town. partial portion of that has been habitat homes as well as individuals, and a lot of these were placed back to homes that were blighted, vacant, and been cleaned up. And as I've told you, we're nearing in the upper 70s of homes have been torn down in the last 10 years. We have 2 more coming across from the bank. We have one up by the hospital, be part of their expansion into their parking lot as well, and the helipad up there to turn in. It hasn't been used as a home for 20 years, been empty for a lot of years now. So we're working with them on that. And we also are getting to a place now, it's not about tearing down homes. We've cleaned that up. That has prevented drug havens. It's prevented, I hate to say it, sometimes when they look like crap, they're horrible. All you do is get one bad individual to the next bad individual. Your police spend all the time in the world there. Well, that has really cleaned a lot of that up and has really helped us to manage the towns. So now we're in the prevention stage. We probably have a dozen homes that are under orders and findings where they have to address issues, whether it's the porch steps falling off, no spouting, the esophagus missing, anything on the outside. That's where we need to move to. We finally we're in control of the blighted. Not everyone. There's probably, somebody could drive around and say, well, if I had my will, another 10 would be tore down. I agree on that. But where we need to now move to is focus in preventing that happening again. A lot of them are rentals, but not all. We do deal with some residential ones, but a lot of them are rentals. And, it's another message we have put out. We no longer, a lot of our landlords know the rules. You have to register as soon as you put someone in. We're done with policing and reminding people. There are just straight citations now. We're taking them into court. There are a handful of landlords, I'm just going to say, are bad. You should be ashamed of yourself. I don't know how you sleep at night for what you do. But, we're making sure with those, our rules are enforced, and we're not giving you warnings and courtesy calls and everything else. It's like doing business. If you open up a business and you have to collect sales tax, you have to pay it, and you have to pay it on time. You don't, you get charged, you pay a penalty. Same way here. Buying rental properties is a business, and you have a responsibility. They have to be registered. They have to be maintained, and it is your responsibility to evaluate the people you put in. As you know, we have a nuisance property law. If we're called down there continuously, we can charge the owner of that property, and we are doing it, and we will continue to pound the way doing it. There's nothing worse than us being our time, or our police department being sucked up at a property, being called down there once a week, every other day, because a landlord doesn't take the time out to see what they're even renting to and what's going on. And then they're the same ones then trying to evict them 60 days later because they're not being paid, and they're asking for our assistance to get them out of the house.
Yeah.
So, I have no sympathy for them. Yeah. None. And as far as I'm concerned, the laws will be enforced in Denison 100%. And no one needs to tell me, oh, I don't understand what you deal with. I own properties. I had rented them. I understood it. And I could tell you all the properties I rented through the years and everything. For the thousands of days I had people in those properties, I probably never had the police called no more than 2-3 times and out of thousands of days, versus some of these were there once a week.
Yeah. Well, the village is looking great. It's a hot summer day, but we're going to talk to you again in a month or two, and we'll talk about Christmas. How's that sound?
That sounds good.
All right, Greg. Thanks so much for stopping in. Greg DiDonato, the Village of Denison's mayor, and as you can tell, lots of good things going on as we talk to him this morning on the BT Morning Show.